We have one political candidate who f***ed a porn star and had his lawyer pay off the porn star with campaign funds. We had another political candidate. She goes up there and she says, you know what my party needs? Megan Thee Stallion shaking her at a political route. But the point is, there's a system. Is the system corrupt? That is debatable. Yes, it probably is corrupt. But can you make the system work for you instead of being a victim? Yes, you can. That's something that's very important. Regardless of who wins, I wish I had a bunch of women here, because one of the things I would ask them is, hey, ladies, do you think it's sexy that this guy can't make a decision? Do you think it's sexy that this guy, he's blaming other people for why he's not good with women? Did that make that this guy is listening to his inner, and every single one of these women are going to say the same thing, like, this guy sounds like a bitch. That's the problem. We're trying to beat the inner out of you. We're trying to beat it out of you the whole time. And you're just like, and then here's what happens. What do guys say to us years later? Hey man, thank you for not accepting no from me. What's going on, guys? It's Michael Sartain here, and we had a really interesting idea because the election is coming up here in the next couple days, and my team is in town. We've got MOA Summit that's coming up here on Saturday. It's going to be an exciting time, and one of the things we want to talk about is, you know, obviously the biggest story in the world right now is the U.S. presidential election. It's pretty wild, and recently, there's been several pieces of controversy, and every time I talk to a different person who supports one person or the other, there's a narrative that they believe. And so there's a couple things we want to go over, specifically because, you know, this is male self-improvement, and what are some of the things that affect you, and what are some of the things that are important, and what are some of the things that are not important. So the first thing, and I was just talking to Grant about this whole situation, and the same thing, I was talking to Tristan, I was talking to Ty, and I was talking about Jennifer about her new barbecue spot that she just built. One of the things we were talking about was this idea that whatever happens, nobody's coming to save you. Do you see, I don't know if you guys saw Cody Sanchez, she had a great video about this. She was talking about it doesn't matter who wins the presidential election. It's not going to change the fact that you live in your mom's basement. It's not going to change the fact that you decided to not eat better. It's not going to change the fact that you sat there, you dated this girl who took advantage of you, and you didn't break up with her, you're still going out with her. It didn't change the fact that you decided to not go to the gym. It didn't change the fact that your diet is crap. It didn't change the fact you didn't build a scalable business, you don't want to go read. It didn't change any of those facts. But what happens though is if the wrong person wins the election, now you have this new little built-in excuse. It's just baked into your life to where you can make up excuses why this didn't work or this did work, because of misogyny or the patriarchy, because of fascism, because of tyranny, whatever it is. And the thing I want to let you guys know is that no matter who the president of the United States is, and whoever it's going to become here in following February 2025, whoever that person is not going to make that big of a difference in whether or not you become successful. Overall, is it important? It's absolutely important. But is it the excuse? Is it the reason why everything is not working for you? That's not a good way to live your life. And I see too many people, like, especially I have some people that are very close to me, and it's like the reason they didn't become successful, they didn't become successful was because the wrong people are in office, because the Matrix was out to get them. One of my favorite quotes of all time, one of my favorite clips I've ever seen was Andrew Tate saying, I know the Matrix is real. You know how I know it's real? Because I manipulated it to work for me. Because I used it to make me rich. You know, another great quote I love is, did you guys ever see the one with Donald Trump where Hillary Clinton is questioning him about tax policies? Yeah. And he goes, I know there's loopholes in the tax code.
Because he uses
because he used them.
And she put them in office.
So we're actually censoring some of the things we're talking about right now in this video because we understand the algorithm doesn't want us to talk about certain things when it comes to, say, reproductive rights.
I mean, just talk about like the whole podcast with Joe Rogan and Donald Trump, like how crazy was that and all that censoring and like what happened there?
Yeah, when you consider the idea that that video or that podcast got 100 million views, might be the most viewed podcast of all time, and you saw that it was censored to the point where when you looked it up on YouTube, it just didn't show up. It was the same thing that happened. I don't know if you when I was looking up the news, like right after the assassination attempt, some people were saying it wasn't even an assassination attempt. Some people were saying it was. But the point is, regardless of what happened, you should not be a victim of any of this stuff. You should make the decision that you you are going to make money this year, you're going to get in better shape this year, and you're going to take better care of yourself this year. You're going to read 50 books this year. You are going to go out on a regular basis and do social things and build a social circle, fix your social media. You're going to build a list of people that you want to network with. All these things you're going to do this year, regardless of how you feel about any of these other issues. One more time. I'm fully aware. Listen, the Andrew Tate quote. I know that there's a matrix because I got it to work for me. And also, you saw how Hillary Clinton tried to turn it on Donald Trump, the whole tax code. And Donald Trump said, yes, I know that this tax code is crooked because I used it, just like Hillary's friends did. Now, there's a couple things going on there where we're kind of switching the narrative. But the point is, there's a system. Is the system corrupt? That is debatable. Yes, it probably is corrupt. But can you make the system work for you instead of being a victim? Yes, you can. That's something that's very important. Regardless of who wins, you're going to say there's something in this system. Like even during
it's always important like to understand like what narrative is being pushed, and the narrative is always pushed that something outside of you is determining your destiny.
The other is always in control.
Side, there's a hidden force. There's something
the barbarians at the gates, right? There's always something that's holding you back.
Horse holding you back.
And the thing is, even if that's true, even if the fucking pyramids were built by aliens and the CIA killed Kennedy, even if we didn't land on the moon, even if any of this happened, guys, the point I'm trying to make is that's not the reason you're poor. That's not the reason you're sad. That's not the reason she left you. It's not because we faked the moon landing, whatever the you need to believe. That's not the reason. The reason is your own internal self-motivation. If you're having an issue with this, please read the book Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. If your life is a failure, it's your fault. It's not Trump's fault. It's not Kamala Harris's fault. It's your fault. You have to take leadership and ownership of whatever's going on. And so many people right now, some of you right now are watching this and maybe this isn't you, but you definitely know somebody, maybe a family member when you go home for Thanksgiving, and their whole life revolves around a victim mentality that happens because the wrong person got elected.
And if you are watching this and you know who you are, how many of you comment on YouTube videos? How many of you comment on these podcasts about schooling these hoes? What is that about? It's not about you putting your life in your hands. It's about you pitting someone else as the enemy instead of taking responsibility.
Again,
you don't want to do that.
Yeah, another great point. It's like that women need to be held accountable, bro. I'm telling you right now, slavery was outlawed in 1865. Nobody's going to be held anything. Like if you think I got bad news for you. Let me tell you something else. Whatever you guys are complaining about, and you guys know I'm a political conservative. I know things are going to get worse. I'm sorry to be the one to tell you. I'll be the first one to tell you this. Other than Iran in 1979 and Afghanistan, once the Biden administration pulled out, those are the only two examples that I can think of in the last 100 years where things went back to the right. It's AI starts to take over. All these things that you're worried about, they're probably gonna fucking happen. Just like you think they are. But you can still live an incredible life. You have to make a decision. Do you just want to complain about the Titanic running into the iceberg? Or do you want to sit there and get on a lifeboat? Because the reality is, man, I'm trying to tell you, some of the things we're never going back to. Some of the things you guys complain of, we're never going back to. We just had a political candidate. We have one political candidate who a porn star and had his lawyer pay off the porn star with campaign funds. We had another political candidate. She goes up there and she says, you know what my party needs? Megan the Stallion shaking her at a political rally. That's what she thought was a good idea. Because again, like this is the thing. From her standpoint, with Kamala, one of the issues is, what is she doing? She thinks she's talking to poor people. Instead, she's talking to woke people. That's the problem. And the issue is, no matter what it is that's going on, you can't use that as an excuse for why your life isn't going well. Make sense? Got it? Awesome. Now, here's one other thing I want to talk about. No matter what's going on and which narrative is being pushed to you or which narrative you choose to believe, the thing is, what you need to understand is how effective these narratives are. And I also want you to understand something else. We this week have been trying to get a Democrat supporter to come on our show Access Vegas on Tuesday, and we couldn't find any. And at first I was like, I know there's people who support Kamala. I know there's a lot of them out there. Why is it that I can't find any? One of the things that happens is that social media apps start to indoctrinate you and put you in an echo chamber. They start to put you in an echo chamber. You have friends right now, if you're conservative, you have friends who are liberal, and those liberal friends only see liberal commentary.
Yes.
And you
it works the other way around
yes.
too.
And you guys right now who are conservative, you're like, I don't know a single Kamala supporter. It's because the same algorithms are making it so that's all you see is people who are conservative. And so you start.
The algorithm's not there to inform you. It's there to keep you on their platform.
Yes.
And that is the point. It's not there for your benefit. It's there for their benefit.
So one more time, if they're using narrative to keep you on the platform by manipulating you. Now you can also use narrative in your life to build a business, and that's essentially what a lot of marketing is. But I don't mind that people are selling you. I just want you to know that you're being sold. And this happens for both sides. There are people right now, like I can't believe, like there are people right now who's like, I can't believe anyone would vote for Donald Trump. And there's people right now, I can't believe anyone would vote for Kamala Harris. And
there's friends of ours who don't believe Joe Biden, like a single person voted for Joe Biden.
Yeah, they don't believe
anyone has ever voted for Trump.
Yes. Yeah,
that's crazy.
They're the legitimate people are like, yeah, there are people right now who's like, they don't think that it was 70 million for Trump and 70 million for Biden. They think it was 70 million for Biden and 0 for Trump. Or they think it was 70 million for Trump and 0 for Biden. And the thing is, how do you get a narrative that's that polarizing? It's because these social media platforms are putting you in an echo chamber. And that's all they're showing you is that thing in the echo chamber to keep you getting that dopamine hit that you get from from confirmation bias. If your viewpoint on life is consistently confirmed by people you see as social media influencers or high status, and they keep showing you that on these platforms, you're going to keep coming back to these platforms. I don't mind that you're being sold to. Just know that you're being sold. Just know that you're being sold right now. That's the only thing that I ask. So be careful when it comes to this. But at the same time, I know a lot of you guys are trying to start a business. You're trying to get better at dating. You're trying to get better at networking, leadership, communication. There's narrative when it comes to that. And when I say narrative, I don't mean lying. I don't mean you're not telling the truth. But there's a way, even when you tell the truth, to position the truth that is more persuasive to people. And a lot of people are like, well, that sounds incredibly manipulative. You're
being manipulated one way or the other.
Yes.
But choose the one that works in your favor.
Yes, I mean that's how stimulus works. You're going to receive stimulus. Hey, Grant, can you talk about great copywriting? Can you talk about some of the stuff that goes on with that?
In terms of like the persuasion and all the things that go on.
For sure, because this is the part. It was really hard for me to grasp this. So when we first started this company, Grant would go over sales ideas with me, and I was like, I'm not really sure I feel comfortable that we're being this salesy, et cetera, et cetera. But once I started having more and more guys, especially at Immersion, shout out to all the guys who've been to Immersion, that would come up to me with tears in their eyes like, yo man, this changed my life. I had 3 people this week tell me this was the best course they've ever taken in their entire life. This is Immersion week. This is our final Immersion week for the year. And when I do that, it's like, oh man, it's like what Dan Kennedy said. I don't care what it takes. I need to get you in this course. This course is what's there to help you. I know that Men of Action helps men. I know because of all the guys who come back, the hundreds and hundreds and thousands of testimonials that we get. I know that's the case. So the thing is, if you stand by, believe, and understand the concepts of whatever it is that you're selling, and some of you guys, I know it's difficult. You guys are selling a freaking, Forex product or something like that. I get it. But like, if you truly believe in what it is that you're selling, whatever you do, whatever techniques that you use to make that work, it's not a manipulation anymore. You're actually offering a service. Can you talk about some of the things like how persuasion works?
Yeah, I think there's this really negative connotation to the word manipulation, and rightly so. There's a lot of bad people out there that use it poorly. But there's also like a win-win side of manipulation. I wish there was a better word for it, but it's like, hey, I have a great thing for you. Unfortunately, you have these limiting beliefs from something that happened in your childhood that's preventing you from moving forward. Maybe that's why there's a victim mindset, or maybe that's why these people are overweight, or maybe that's why they feel like they can't get the girl that they want. And it's because of something that happened long ago. But hey, I have this really awesome strategy for you to use that works for every guy in any city all over the world. But for whatever reason, you have this limiting belief that it's not going to work for you. That's essentially what copywriting is. It's just like, hey, I know I've been in the same position. It's all good. I got you. And copywriting is really just walking people through their inner limiting beliefs and removing those. And it's ultimately these limiting beliefs that keep us in these cycles of every 4 years, oh my God, Trump is going to be elected. And I was even this person in 2016 when Trump got elected. I was like, my life is going to suck. I can't believe this guy got elected. I support him now. But now thinking about it, it's like when he was in president and when he was in office, literally not a single thing in my life changed. He actually made my taxes a little bit lower, which was great. Nothing really like affected me. And I remember how like tumultuous that made me feel. I would watch like, sitcoms and all these like YouTube shows about Donald Trump, and just like I would get so worked up and worried about it, and I created my own worst enemy by being a victim to these surroundings of myself. And so this year, I haven't really even paid attention to the election. It honestly affects us more than anything because that's like all the content that people see on social media. And yeah, it's really just like you can absolutely overcome your limiting beliefs, and you can remove this victim mindset by just stop blaming other people and saying like, and just taking ownership for your actions. Like, you're the reason why you're here right now, and you're the reason why you're going to be where you're at tomorrow. Donald Trump and Kamala Harris have no impact on that, and you can actually use this as fuel to get to the next level. So
all right,
what do you think about that?
So I want you guys to consider this, right? A lot of you will come on, you'll talk to some of us here at Men of Action, and you're sitting there, well, this girl doesn't like me. I was rejected by this girl. I got divorced. I got cheated on, whatever that thing is. And then while we're there, you start bringing up these limiting beliefs, either about your beliefs about women, your beliefs about yourself, your beliefs about your height, your ethnicity, whatever those things are. Now, I wish I had a bunch of women here. Hold on. I wish I had a bunch of women here, because one of the things I would ask him is, hey, ladies, do you think it's sexy that this guy can't make a decision? Do you think it's sexy that this guy, he's blaming other people for why he's not good with women? Did that make your wet when you think about the fact that this guy is listening to his inner bitch and he can't make a decision? Literally the reason why you're here, that you're using a victim mentality that is making you indecisive about women, is the reason you're not attractive to women in the first place, and you don't realize it. So what just happened there? I literally have to beat the mindset out of you in order to get you to recognize what's good for you. Do you understand that? Now, is that a narrative? Yes. But sometimes you need that, and you need to understand that in order to get you out of your own set of thinking, your own limiting beliefs, so that you can take action and move forward with the thing that you came to us to improve in the first place. That's so hard for people to grasp. They're like, I don't understand why I'm so, unattractive to women, sitting there analyzing every move they made. And then I ask a woman, hey, what do you think about this guy who can't make any decisions and analyzes everything and needs like 6 phone calls to make a decision? And every single one of these women are going to say the same thing, like, this guy sounds like a bitch. That's the problem. We're trying to beat the inner out of you. We're trying to beat it out of you the whole time. And you're just like, and then here's what happens. What do guys say to us years later? Hey man, thank you for not accepting no from me. Thank you for not taking no for an answer, bro. Thank you for sticking with me so long and getting me in this course. Thank you so much. So that's the reason why you have to do those things, because you internally when we're talking to you, you aren't even aware of your own internal biases that we have to beat them out of you in order to get you to the part where you can take action to help your own life.
I don't know anything to say. No, you said everything I was going to ask. I was going to prompt you to say something, but you got it.
That's funny. Awesome.
Can we go eat?
Yeah, let's go get barbecue.
No.
45 minutes.
Yeah.
We're committed. You got to go.
Gotta go.
75
Mike,
hard.
let's go eat. Come on.
Huh?
You can't.
Let's go eat.
No, see, this is great. So that they're doing this. This is obviously for the video. Obviously, there's no way we would quit, right? There's no way we're gonna quit, Lieutenant, are you?
Fuck no.
Right? Because we're doing 75 hard, so we have to do this stuff. We aren't gonna quit just because it doesn't feel right.
We need peach cobbler.
By the way, let me ask you something. What kind of weakling eats before 5 p.m. anyway? Intermittent fasting for life. Am I right? Shout out to Greg O'Gallagher. What kind of weakling does that? Okay, can you talk about narrative? Now here's the thing. I'm going to tell you another narrative, right? This other narrative is I show up to a military base. They shave my head. I'm in uniform. I look at a mother across the way from me. He looks like he's angry, I'm angry. And then I see that flag on his shoulder and I realize we're on the same team.
Yep.
Can you talk about that? It's like, they're narratives that we learned in the US military, but these narratives actually made us work harder and more in sync with one another, that made us a more effective unit.
Well, we talk about in the military, you have foreign enemies that want to try and cause discord in the country. So they're using social media, using narratives. They're going to try and pry apart Americans. They're going to try and make you divisive, one group against the other. But one of the things we talked about, at least in the Marine Corps, there's no such thing as white or black. You're green or dark green. Everyone bleeds red. There's no difference on the battlefield. Because when the bullets fly, I don't care who you are, can you do your job? And it's a meritocracy.
Yeah, that is the idea, right? But the thing is, when you come into the military, a lot of times you think you know everything. You join the military because you want to be a fighter pilot. In your mind, you're already Top Gun. You're already Maverick. and then you go to pilot school, and they beat it out of you. You're sitting there spending like days and days and days going over emergency procedures, and it's so boring. You want to know the funniest thing? I talked to this about this. I think I've talked to you about this before. When you go back and watch Top Gun, I'm an aviator. When you go back and watch Top Gun, you realize Iceman was right about everything. He was completely, Val Kilmer, if you're a military training instructor, or if you have any sort of like, you've ever dealt with troops before, and you go back and listen to Iceman talking about, dude, Maverick, you're dangerous. Maverick, you're like bad for team morale. The reality is Iceman was right about everything.
What's really funny is a lot of those guys that come in with the big tough bravado at boot camp day one, they're the ones crying in their bunk at night, day one, scratching their head, going, boo-hoo-hoo, my life is so miserable now. Welcome to the real world.
Yeah, it's a lot harder. It's a lot harder than you think. But the problem is, like, again, a lot of people will have this narrative, and then we come in, and the narrative that we have, a great book about this by Yuval Noah Harari is called Sapiens, and it talks about the stories that we tell each other. And at first you're like, oh, stories, you mean all of this is fake? Stories doesn't mean fake. Stories, a lot of times, especially when it comes to Homo sapiens, it's a narrative that we have to get us all on the same page. If I went to a bunch of, just think about the idea of like think if I went to a bunch of monkeys and I said, hey, chimpanzees, if you go and kill these other chimpanzees, you're going to die and go to chimpanzee heaven, where you're going to have 72 virgin chimpanzees, and then you're going to get a bunch of bananas for the rest of your life. You're going to get infinite bananas for the rest of your life. The chimpanzee would not even be aware of your narrative. Chimpanzees don't have a narrative. They don't understand that. Homo sapiens, we get to pass along stories, but it's so powerful. It's bad because those stories can get you into like cult-like behavior, or get you believing, like you've ever met somebody who's like a professional poker player or trades Forex for a living, and they keep telling you about how much money they make, but they keep forgetting about all the times they had these horrible losses. There's a really big problem with people who are like, I see who are pro poker. I mean, obviously, I know some guys who are legitimate pro poker players, but I meet a lot of guys who move to Vegas and they think they're pro poker players, but they just keep forgetting about all the times they got blown out. Or guys who are active traders and they're like, anyway, the point is they keep telling themselves this narrative because they bought a program or they think they figured something out. The narrative can also lead to you doing terrible things, but another narrative you can tell yourself is every time you go to the gym, you notice women noticing you more. Even if it didn't happen, like if you believe that, if you can let that narrative take over, how powerful is that? Now, unfortunately, the reason why we made this video is because there is a narrative from the Republicans that the Democrats are going to take your guns. They're going to take all your guns. And listen, Obama got elected. He didn't take my friend's guns. He didn't take any of their guns. I'm sorry to tell. I know some people are mad about that.
I do miss my AKs.
Yeah,
he did. He
got rid of that. And then well, Trump's going to come, and these women will never be able to have their reproductive rights. Are going to be completely taken away from them.
Mike, when we're talking about the narrative, this stuff goes back 2,500 plus years with Socrates.
Yeah.
He was talking about the noble lie, where the rulers have gold in their blood, the intermediates, the middle class, they have silver, and then the working class has brass. And if we told society that they were born with certain metals in their blood and only certain people can be certain places, then that keeps the people of the ruling elite in power, because you don't have the gold in your blood. You don't belong. And so the story of narrative control and persuasion and manipulation within society goes back 2,500 plus years.
You're going to be manipulated or persuaded one way or the other. What I choose to do is tell myself stories that I am incredibly grateful and incredibly lucky to be living today, and that there is no thing that I can't accomplish if I put my mind to it, and that I have around me other people who I want to cast upward, that I want to build up, that I want to make wealthier, that I want to make more successful. These are the narratives I tell myself. And because I keep telling myself these narratives that tomorrow I'll be stronger. Like, here's one narrative, ready? I'm a 47-year-old man hosting a competition last night for $5,000 at a club. I host I'm a 47-year-old man dating girls in their early 20s who are like, and I'm hosting the 3 biggest bikini competitions in the world. You know what kind of narrative I have to tell myself in order to make that work? Some people are like, get out of the club, old man, blah, blah, blah. They're trying to tell me how to live my life. There's all these narratives. I'm 47. I'm not supposed to be this strong. I'm not supposed to be in shape. I'm supposed to be fat. I'm supposed to be weak. I'm supposed to have low testosterone, big old man boob. I'm supposed to do that. That's what happened. But I've told myself a different story. So now here's the question you got to ask yourself. If you're unsuccessful, if you're doing poor with women, if you're a bad communicator, if you're nervous when you get up and talk in public, find someone who's in your arc, who's kind of your archetype, and see that they don't have those same excuses. Someone who's shorter than you, who's doing better with women, who's the same color as you, who's doing better with women. Someone who came from a humble upbringing, maybe even has a convicted felon, who's making more money than you. And then ask yourself this question: what stories are you telling yourself that he isn't telling himself? What narrative have you built into your life that he didn't build into his life? Ask yourself that question right now. Why is this person who's got multiple felonies, this person who's uglier than you, this person who was born poorer than you, this person who has a speech impediment or a lisp, you sit there, you want to talk about a narrative? Go look up Nick Santonastasso, who was born missing 2 legs and an arm, and ask yourself, why is he dating a supermodel and driving a supercar, a sports car, and you're not? What stories are you telling yourself that he's not telling himself? And is one of those stories, oh my God, if Kamala wins, we're all going to be poor, and this election is for democracy and freedom in general? Or are you telling yourself, if Donald Trump gets elected, we're just going to go back into like an 1880s misogynistic theocracy? Like, what narrative are you telling yourself right now where you've already have this built-in excuse for why you're going to fucking fail again in 2025?
You know, one of the things about being a leader in the military, you do a lot of reading. And one of the things that we kind of study is the fall of Rome. And you know what's crazy? At the worst part of the Roman Empire, where you have civil wars, you have disease, you have the barbarians at the gates, right? There are still winners. There's still people at the top having their dinners, having their orgies, having fun, drinking wine.
All the people who made money during the pandemic, remember them? All the people who you're sitting there making excuses. And one of the things that pisses you off so much is these girls making $300,000 a month on OnlyFans. But you know what they did? They didn't make an excuse. Yeah. You can complain about them all they want. You know what they didn't do? They didn't make any excuses. They just made money. People make money in down markets. People make money when there's crashes. You know why they're doing that? Because they're not telling themselves that they have a built-in excuse for failure.
But you know what all that taught me? Is that winners win. And when you have a winner mindset and a winner mentality, it doesn't matter how bad it is, you're going to win. It's like the 2008 market crash. Yeah. How many people made millions, if not billions of dollars, buying homes in the recession because they had a winner's mindset, and they found a way to turn one of the worst recessions in modern history into one advantage where they have lifetime wealth.
Again, one more time. It's a winner mindset. It's a winner mentality. That's a narrative. That's a story that you're telling yourself. Wait, what happened? Your family bought, what'd you say?
8 houses in 2008.
So when there was a subprime mortgage crisis, you guys went and took advantage of it, and you guys actually bought distressed assets.
Yes.
Yes, and then you end up making a bunch of money from that. It's exactly right. So the thing is, don't make these excuses. It's not, guys, it's not winning genetics. Is it? It's not winning placement and lifestyle. It's a winning mindset. That's a narrative you're telling yourself. You're telling yourself the story, I can win even when everyone else told me I'm a loser. That's the narrative that you tell yourself. Some of you guys right now, you've been picked on before. You were picked on in high school. Some of you guys right now, you went and had a date with a girl and you thought that girl was going to be the one, and she flaked on you. And you could still tell yourself, even though in this case, were you a victim? Sort of, maybe, kind of. That, don't make yourself a victim. You're the only one. In 2006, a woman named Astrid Carlson ran over my father and killed him. And I had every right to be a victim. I didn't choose to be a victim. I did not let this woman make me a victim because she killed my father. I chose to not be a victim. What story are you telling yourself that I have decided to not tell myself? What is the story that you get to tell yourself every day? Every day you get to wake up and tell yourself a new story. So what is it going to be this week? We're saying...
If we're talking about underdog stories, especially being in the military, Audie Murphy. This is a guy that the Marines didn't want him, other branches of the military didn't want him. He somehow got his way into the U.S. military. He was like 5 foot something, really short, but he is the most decorated military person ever. During World War II, behind enemy lines with Germans right over in his position, they made a movie about his exploits. He's told them that if I actually filmed what actually happened, people wouldn't believe it. But this is a guy who realized that I have to perform. It doesn't matter if I don't have the peak physical attributes. I have to perform. And another one, PFC Desmond Doss at Hacksaw Ridge helped me get one more. This guy was picked on as basic training. He was considered a weakling. He was considered a liability to his military unit. But when it came time to perform, he threw all that out the window and he says, help me God get one more. And he saved all those soldiers at Hacksaw Ridge because he decided it's time for me to step up and perform and be a winner.
Okay, so now in the end, right now, huh?
Let's call it action. Wrap this up.
Listen, what the weakness? Hunger is weakness, dog. It's weakness.
Just peach cobbler.
Hunger is weakness.
Just want peach cobbler.
Intermittent fasting. Let's go a couple more days. Let's not eat. We don't eat.
If you chew Big Red, you.
Here we go. All right, listen, guys. Here it is. What are you, this week? What narrative are you going to tell yourself? So one of the things why I love Andy Frisella 75 Hard is because these guys are like, why are we doing this? I got to work. I got to be outside for 45 minutes to do a workout. He already knows because he's done it before. It doesn't make any sense. I was out partying till 6 a.m. last night because I was hosting this competition over at Tao last night. By the way, shout out to Tao Group for asking me to host that. It was a beautiful, incredible contest. When I got home, you know what I did? I had to read 10 pages from a book. Bro, it was 6 o'clock in the morning. And by the way, I had to chug a half a gallon of water because I was behind on my water. The thing is, when you do that, what am I doing? Does it really matter about the water? Are these 10 pages going to change my life? No. But you know what is going to change my life? I don't make any more excuses. That's what actually is going to change my life. And not making excuses after the crash of 2020 when I lost so much money. I didn't make excuses. I started another business. When I was sitting there, I was 47 years old, and I was sitting there or 45, and my hip hurt and my knee hurt. I didn't make excuses. I decided I was going to get in better shape by changing my diet. These are excuses. These are narratives that you get to tell yourself. Ask yourself, what narrative are you telling yourself today? Are you telling yourself the narrative, hey, I don't want to do Michael's social circle course because it's going to take too much time? Well, that's something you're telling yourself because nothing has saved me more time than social circle. You know what wastes a bunch of time? Me sitting there trying to do cold approach pickup from 10 p.m. at night till 3 o'clock in the morning. That has wasted a bunch of my time. You know what else? The narrative people tell themselves? Well, that course that Michael teaches, it only works because these guys spend a bunch of money. Hey, Grant, you remember the photo shoot that you did where you ended up meeting your fiance? How much?
Marrying in next year?
Yeah. How much money did you pay to do that?
Zero. And then she took 11th in an international bikini competition last week. So not just any run-of-the-mill girl.
Okay, so one more time, guys, the narrative that you're telling yourself. When I was throwing these photo shoots during COVID, I remember one time somebody asked me, man, that must have been expensive. And I was like, I didn't pay $1. Oh, no, that's not true. I did buy a pizza. I bought a large pizza. I did. You remember? We got
really
pizza.
All your social circle should cost. It's just a pizza for the girls.
Do you remember that shoot? It was like we had to get bottled water and pizza.
Yep.
That was it. That was the only thing we bought the entire time. Guys, you tell yourselves these narratives, it's going to be too hard. It's going to take too much time. It's going to take too much money. And my question to you is, if I have 200, 300, 400 guys who are clearly telling you that isn't the case, why are you still telling yourself these things? And I'm asking you, I'm not trying to sell you, I'm asking you the question, why is it that objective evidence is not enough for you to take action? And the reason why is because you told yourself a story. You've already made up your mind you're going to be a victim. You don't know how you're going to be a victim yet. You don't even understand how you're a victim yet. You've already made up your mind that you're a victim. Guys, 2025 can be the greatest year of your life. It's right around the corner. I don't know when I'm filming this right now, and I don't know, it's probably going to be after the election when this comes out. I don't know who's going to win the election, but what I do know is no matter what happens, I'm going to have a badass year. I've already made up my mind I'm going to win in 2025. What decision have you made for your life? Put it down in the comments right now. Tell me, what decision have you made for your life in 2025? What story are you telling yourself? Stop believing this shit that, hey, the world is a meritocracy, or even worse, the world is nothing but conspiracies, and I'm held down because the man, the Illuminati, the Rothschilds, the Matrix, and the aliens that live under Antarctica have already decided that I'm going to fail. Or have you told yourself the story that no matter what happens in 2025, if things go bad, good. Those are just more obstacles for me to climb over. And if things go good, good. That's more success that I built into my own life. Tell me what story you're going to tell yourself in 2025. Tell me what books you're going to read right now for the rest of this year and in 2025 that are going to build that narrative up in your mind so that if you're going to get manipulated, you know who you should be manipulated by? Yourself. You should be manipulated by yourself. You should find mentors that you see succeed, and you should read about those guys. That's why in Men of Action, one of the very core principles we have in this course is that you read a ton. We want you to read about successful people. We want you to surround yourself with the best people, okay? One more time, guys, down in the comments, I want you to go right now and I want you to tell me what narrative are you going to tell yourself this year? What stories you're gonna tell yourself this year? And most of all, I want you to tell me what stories are you gonna stop telling yourself this year about your own victimization and your own failure. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. We got a lot more content coming out this way. And you know what? Whoever the President of the United States is, congratulations to whoever they are. But I don't care if I love you or hate you, I'm gonna win no matter who you are.